Premier League football is back. It's going to be played on the 26th of December. It's going to be Arsenal hosting West Ham at the Emirates. It's really going to be a highly contested game because even West Ham is not a soft nut to crack. And we're here to bring you what the head-to-head stats are, the predicted lineup, which players are variable for either sides and which players are not variable from either sides. Rokani David is my name. This is Rokani Media Football. Smash the like button, comment and share, and let's get this started in this way. Merry Christmas to you guys. I believe in Australia it's already Christmas. Here where I am, I'm just left with like 1 hour to enter Christmas, and Jesus was born today, right? So let's get this started. Now, before I get into the head-to-head stats in there for you that you guys should know about, let me first talk about the players that you don't expect to see for either sides. Don't expect Gabriel Jesus for Arsenal. Don't expect Emily Smith-Rowe for Arsenal. That's it. Those are really unavailable. Those that are in contention to return back, there is Zinchenko is expected to really make the bench tomorrow and make the match squad, depending on his leg fitness test carried out by his manager. Obviously, I think that's the only player. And I think Reece Nelson is the other one that is out of this game. So the rest of the players of Arsenal are really going to be available. Even Saliba returned on Friday. That means they'll train with Arsenal Friday, Saturday. I think they're not going to train tomorrow, and they will go ahead and do the needful on what we call Monday when they host a team known as West Ham. For West Ham, they're really having some absentees. It's doubted that a player known as Kamanka and Mikel Antonio are really doubts in the London derby. They're having a calf and ankle injury problems. That means Mikel Antonio is having a calf problem and Lucas Kamanka is having what we call the ankle problem. So the calf is for Mikel Antonio and Skamanka is having an ankle injury. But there are two defenders, Nayev, Odegaard and Aaron Croswell. They are fighting uphill battles to be fit for the game against Arsenal, as Coach Zuma remains out for a long-term injury. It shows you that they are really having lots of players that are really out. Now with Alfonso Aluela playing at the player role for France at the World Cup, Fabianski will start obviously in goal according to the news, and obviously they will be happy to welcome back their World Cup players, that is Lucas Paqueta and Declan Rice. That is a side which goes by names of West Ham. Now you know the manager David Moyes, and the option is having to go on and really face a team which goes by the names of Arsenal. Will he have the balls to go on and really take on Arsenal? That's the big question that all of us are here waiting to see on and really talk about. Now let's get into the predicted starting 11 of Arsenal, as you know how we do it. Now let's get to the predicted starting 11 of Arsenal after letting you know what players are going to be out and what players are variable for picks by the manager Mikel Arteta. Lately, Mikel Arteta has been playing with a 4-3-3 system. I believe he's going back to the system that has really won him a lot of matches this season. That is a 4-2-3-1 that has really got him a lot of success at a club called Arsenal. With 4 defenders, a double pivot, 3 attack midfielders, and 1 centre forward. Now, let's start off with the goalkeeper. For the goalkeeping department of Arsenal, unless otherwise there is an injury that is really going to attack Ramsdale before the game, that's the only way he will keep out of this game. But if at all he's available, trust me, he's going to start in goal. That is Aaron Ramsdale, starting in goal for a team known as Arsenal. You know, he's really Mr. Fantastic, already kept some good clean sheets this season, close to 7 clean sheets for Arsenal. So Ramsdale is expected to start in goal. No contention. Carl Hayne saving penalties, not yet ready, and Matt Turner not available for the game against Matt Turner is available, but he cannot put Ramsdale to a stop of the starting position of Arsenal. The right backs that are available, there is Ben White, there is Cedric Soares, and there is Takahiro Tomiyasu. Amongst all those, we've seen that Mikel Arteta has decided to go with this man throughout thin and pain in the for you. So it's Ben White starting as a right back for Arsenal. I think Tomiyasu and Cedric Soares will wait in. Let's go to the left back position of Arsenal. There is Zinchenko, there is Kientien, who has really looked beautiful in these games. Then there is a player called Tomiyasu and Cedric Soares. They also play that side. But having downplayed them, in the right back position, there is no way they can overtake Zinchenko and Tierney. But I believe Zinchenko returning from injury, the manager wouldn't like to rush him to start him in this game of football that's going to be high contested with a lot of physicality tied to this game. So I believe this man is going to play as the left back for Arsenal. Tierney, the squad is really going to be playing there very well. I've seen him improve a lot in his games on how he plays into the half spaces as he goes in the final third of the opponent. So I believe a lot has been added to his game, impressing the manager to see to it that he has no reason to hurry back Zinchenko or Tomiyasu to play as an inverted left back at the left back position of Arsenal. When we go to the central defense partnership, Arsenal fans, welcome back Rolls Royce William Saliba. He has been training with Arsenal ever since Friday, meaning that he's back, and there is no reason as to why Mikel Arteta won't start him alongside his partner that they've gone ahead to look good in the Premier League, that is Gabriel Magalhaes. And I think both of them have like 2 goals this season. I think Saliba scored 2 goals and Gabriel Magalhaes has scored 2 goals this season. Also, Saliba, the first one against Bournemouth, and the other one came in when they're playing Brentford. That's it. Then Gabriel Magalhaes, he scored 1 against Chelsea, and the other one he scored was against Fulham when he really compensated for his mistake that he made that led to Mitrovic putting Fulham ahead. But Odegaard leveled the game, and Gabriel Magalhaes came up with a winner to put them in a very, very comfortable situation. So that is the back four of Arsenal, and I believe that's how they're going to be standing on Monday. That is the 26th of December as they talk on West Ham. A double pivot is going to be welcomed back in the competitive Premier League game of Arsenal, meaning that it's always Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka into that double pivot of Arsenal. Why a double pivot in this game of football? When you look at West Ham, they're really having a strong midfield. If you go with a single pivot, you won't be able to contain and win that midfield. With Declan Rice, Lucas Paqueta, and Idrit Shishek, those 3 midfielders, they are really too strong, and you need Xhaka and Thomas Partey to go on and do the needful. And I'm predicting that it's going to be hard to see Granit Xhaka making those forward or progressive movements a lot. They have to maintain a high defensive discipline to see to it that they cover the back four and shield it from the likes of Lucas Paqueta and Declan Rice, who does overloads in the final third of the pitch every time they're really playing. So I believe that double pivot is going to be so much instrumental into the start of the game of football of Arsenal. So that 2-man midfield, which we call a double pivot, will really look to stop the runs and break plays of West Ham because they ignite a lot from the midfield. Then the captain, Odegaard, is going to play into the central attacking midfield area, obviously having a very good season, looking like fresh, almost hitting his prime, like 1 or 2 years from now, celebrating his 24th birthday at Arsenal. Martin Odegaard is going to be one of those that is going to tailor those attacks of Arsenal, provided he's getting the ball from Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka. Obviously, you expect him to go on and do the needful because to me, he's one of the best players of Arsenal and one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. That's it. Now, when you look at the right attacking midfield, almost Bukayo Saka returns and is going to go on and redo the needful into this game of football. Having played just 45 minutes in the friendly of Luton Town where Arsenal drew 0-0, he returned from the World Cup. Obviously, we expect him to start off that side to go on and do the needful, to create goals and obviously score goals and be a threat to cross with the left back of West Ham. Martinelli Gabriel is expected to play as a left attacking midfielder for a club called Arsenal in this encounter, which is a London derby, when he is really returning from the World Cup, obviously trying to get back to where he's supposed to be, having been disappointed by the manager of Brazil, Tite, for not giving him a minute in the game they are knocked out when he took off Vinicius Jr. and brought on Rodrigo. Yet every time the games that Brazil had been playing in the World Cup, each and every time Vinicius Jr. was taken off, it was supposed to be Martinelli, and Martinelli got pissed off. No sooner had the game got done than he really got his belongings and flew out of Qatar to London to prepare for the return of Arsenal, and he made his return for Arsenal in the game they played against Luton Town, and the game ended 0-0. Edin Ketia leading the line in the absentia of Gabriel Jesus. We expect him to go on and lead the line for a club called Arsenal. So that is our starting 11 predicted for Arsenal, but I believe it's going to look like that, unless otherwise there is a late injury that is going to go in and affect any of the player. But the only position I believe can be changed is that of the left back, provided Zinchenko is past fit. The manager has always shown us that he prefers to start Zinchenko ahead of any of the left backs at Arsenal. So that is how we believe Arsenal is going to go on and start their games of football, to see to it that they talk on a side known as West Ham. Now let's tackle a little bit onto these stats that most of you might not be knowing. We've been told by BBC that Arsenal versus West Ham, this London derby, has seen 52 Premier League games take place together, with 34 wins for Arsenal, 8 for West Ham. That means Arsenal has an upper hand in this derby. 98 goals scored by Arsenal, 39 goals scored by West Ham, 24 clean sheets kept by Arsenal, 11 clean sheets kept by West Ham, confirming to you that it's really going to be a hell of a game that going to put in competition, because West Ham is really a different team altogether. However much they are having the doubts of Antonio and Skamaka, their centre forwards, but I believe they are a force that can cause a shock to Arsenal at the Emirates. Arsenal have not lost any game at the Emirates this season. You know that very well, and all the games they've played, they've gone ahead to win them. The first game they played was against Leicester. They won it by 4-2. They won against West Ham 2-1, Aston Villa 2-1. Then they beat Tottenham Hotspur 2-1, they beat Liverpool 3-2, they beat Nottingham Forest 5-0. So all the games of football they've hosted at the Emirates, they've gone ahead to win all of those games. So it shows you that they are really a very, very beautiful side that has gone ahead to do the needful. But one thing you should know is that Arsenal has not been a side that has been keeping clean sheets at the Emirates. Having played all those games, close to 6-7 games at the Emirates, they've only kept one clean sheet, and that came against Nottingham Forest when they beat them by 5-0. Remarkably, or rememberably, you know that Reece Nelson scored a brace, Odegaard scored, Thomas Partey was in the score sheet, and who else really came in through to score the first goal? I think, who scored the first goal in that game? It was not Bukayo Saka. I think it was Martinelli in the 4th minute of the game. That's when he really put himself onto the score sheet of a team called Arsenal. So that is what I had to bring for you onto that. But let's get into what we call further match starts of this game of football that you need to know as you go on to bet, or you go on to think of who is really going to come in and win this beautiful game of football. That is the London Derby that is going to be played for the 53rd time in London. We've been told by BBC that West Ham have lost 11 of their last 12 Premier League away games against Arsenal, with the exception being a 2-0 win on the opening weekend of the 2015-2016 campaign, meaning that West Ham are known good travellers, even if they're coming to the Emirates or to their stadium. Arsenal has always edged West Ham in every corner of this world, and out of the 12 Premier League games, West Ham have gone ahead to lose 11, and they've only won one, 2-0, and that last happened how many years back? Close to 7 years back. That's when it last happened. So it looks like West Ham are already in the teeth of the lion, and Arsenal are really warming up to get their prey, known as West Ham, to see to it that they have them for the Boxing Day lunchtime Old Supper. After that, we've been told by BBC that Arsenal have won their last 10 Premier League home matches on Boxing Day and are unbeaten in their last 13 at home on this day since a 2-0 loss against Nottingham Forest in 1987. You see, the records are there to be broken, but I believe Arsenal stand a very huge chance of beating a team called West Ham, because when you look at how everything is going on, Arsenal are really the team that has all what it takes to beat West Ham. Look at these other stats. They've won they're unbeaten in their last 13 at home. And they will last lost their game in 1987. How many years are those? 1987. Those are close to 35 years. that's when Arsenal last lost a game on Boxing Day at the Emirates. So it shows you where the power is leaning, and this gives a lot of shock to a team or supporters of West Ham. And David Moyes has gone ahead to reckon with Arsenal that they are really a force that is really good at beating a side known as West Ham. Then let's see the other tweet all start that BBC has provided us as far as this London derby is concerned. West Ham manager David Moyes has lost more away games against Arsenal in all competitions than he has any other opponent. He has lost 17 times playing Arsenal, while he's only faced Chelsea 23 on the road, often without ever winning, than he has the Gunners at 21. So this is the other stat that really puts Arsenal ahead of the game of West Ham. The manager Moyes has lost 17 times to Arsenal as a manager, meaning that he has not yet found a solution for defeating a side called Arsenal, and that is David Moyes for you. And lastly, the stat BBC told us is that Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah has scored 10 goals in his last 10 starts in all competitions at the Emirates, notching his 10 goals from just 15 shots on target. Before this run, Nketiah had netted 3 goals in his first 10 starts for Arsenal at the Emirates. This gives Arsenal an edge ahead of West Ham, because very many people look like they're not giving Arsenal a chance to go on and win the trophy and compete after Gabriel Jesus got an injury. But amidst Gabriel Jesus being their most important player on the pitch, Arsenal as a team showed us that last season from December they played without Aubameyang, and they went ahead to win very many games. Apart from the 3 losses they made consecutively against Newcastle, I think it was Aston Villa, Brighton, and Newcastle. They never had a bad run ever since they never had their captain who really left, that is Aubameyang, to Barcelona. But Eddie Nketiah came in through in the last 7 games and really scored very many goals. And they're telling you that in his last 10 starts in the competition at the Emirates, he has scored 10 goals, meaning that you have every chance to go on and proclaim the goal of Eddie Nketiah at Emirates when they're playing West Ham. I believe creativity is going to be on the high. West Ham might play a low block and Arsenal might really find it hard to break them down. But with the services and the brain of a player like Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Nketiah, and Martinelli, I believe Arsenal will have a proper plan to break them down. You know, a team like Arsenal that plays a high possessive game with a high intensity, it gives you no chance of survival at the Emirates. So do you know why? The fans sing from the first minute to the last minute when the referee blows the whistle to halt the game. The players are really high-spirited. They know that they can go ahead and win those games. And I'm here trying to count how many games did Arsenal win from December when they threw away Aubameyang till May when the season got done. Because the notable losses, I remember, they lost to Man City, they lost to Liverpool, they lost to Manchester United, they lost to Newcastle, they lost to Aston Villa, they lost to Brighton, they lost to Tottenham Hotspur. Those are just 7 losses last season, and they're looking far much better this season. Not so? Meaning that, how many games has Arsenal played? Arsenal so far played 14 games. Meaning that they are left with 24 games. 24 games minus 7. If they lose 7, they'll be left with 17 games. Not so? So 17 times 3 points. Those are 17. Those are 51. Not so 51 points. Add them to the 30, is it 39 they're having? Almost 90. So if Arsenal can average 90 points, that means they would have put themselves into a Premier League contention. And I believe that they're not going to even lose those 7 games. I think if at all they lose more games, they'll lose like 3. They'll lose like 3, that's it. They'll fight. These players are going to put their body in the line, and their title chase resumes on Monday when they are playing West Ham. They have to go ahead and really silence all those pundits claiming that Arsenal doesn't have the potential to go on and really win this trophy. Yet to me, I believe they can go ahead and really win it because they are willing to reinforce hugely in January. And it comes as a blessing in disguise. I told people, Jesus getting an injury helps Arsenal. Do you know why? It has taught them a lesson that any player can get injured and we need to reinforce. However much Jesus is still the lead man for Arsenal, they would have not gone ahead to go on and really go hard to look in for a centre forward if at all he never got an injury. But imagine if at all Arsenal brings in João Felix. Imagine if at all Arsenal brings in João Felix in January, either on loan or buying him, and Mikhailo Modric, then they'll be having 3 strikers, Jesus, Nketiah, and a player called João Felix. What an attack force that Arsenal is going to be having. João Felix alone, you add him to that Arsenal side, that means goals. It means goals. He exactly fits like a glove into that system of Mikel Arteta. So I believe Arsenal fans should go on and praise God that this happened in December when they really had time to go on and really put themselves into the right position. I know the kind of team of Arsenal and how they are. They are going to go in and do the needful to bring in players as soon as the January month starts. So expect Arsenal to go huge in the market in the January transfer window, and don't forget to keep it Rokani Media Football. My prediction, Arsenal 3, West Ham 1. That's my prediction. I believe Arsenal is winning this one. West Ham is having like 2-3 players that are from the World Cup, and we've seen all these games. We've seen the games that were played in the midweek. Players of the Carabao Cup, players that were not in the World Cup looked rusty. Like for Manchester United, the players that really looked lively were the ones that were the World Cup. Eriksson, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Tyrell Malacia, Anthony also really had some little bit of sparks in there for you. They looked really great. Look at Man City. Kevin De Bruyne looked really great. Akanji and other players really looked great. Even for Liverpool, players at the World Cup really looked great. So when you look at Arsenal, they're really having very many players that were at the World Cup. Look at Ramsdale, Benny White, Saliba. The other one is Thomas Partey, Grant Xhaka, Bukayo Saka, and Martinelli. They are really having lots of players that were at the World Cup. And West Ham, I think they had Paqueta and Declan Rice. Not so? Was Kahela in the Germany national team? I don't really remember very well, but obviously West Ham never had very many players at the World Cup. So my prediction is 3-1. Arsenal is really having players that are really more match fit than those of West Ham, and I believe that is going to be a game to capitalize on. So thank you guys for watching in through. Merry Christmas to you all. I've given you my prediction. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. That has been my match preview of Arsenal versus West Ham. And don't forget to let me know your prediction into the comment section below and what you think about my predicted starting 11 that I really put up with my team here at the head offices of Rokani Media Football. Ciao, ciao. One more video left in the next 2 or 3 hours onto this channel. I'm out.